So we got to talk about something because Nintendo made a very interesting announcement this morning that I honestly can't help but feel there's more than meets the eye with this. When you look at things like timing, when you look at something that we even talked about yesterday, I feel like there's something bigger happening, and this of course involves the Nintendo Switch with the OLED model specifically. The OLED model is of course the strangest Nintendo Switch that there is, because that was supposed to be the Nintendo Switch Pro according to Mochizuki. It was supposed to have a better screen, better capabilities, and then we never really fully got all that sort of stuff with it. It does indeed have a better screen. It has a dock that can get updates for some reason that we still haven't even figured it out yet, because that's never been done or anything like that. But it wasn't a stronger system. It wasn't the system that a lot of people were potentially anticipating. And I kind of want to talk a bit about yesterday's video and then tie it into today's video, because evidently yesterday's video, I had information that was indeed old. Some people in the Zelda community weren't too happy with that video because it was stuff that we had previously talked about. I did find a video from back in December of 2021 talking about Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, and indeed there was some similar information that was talked about in that video and the video from yesterday with the different patents and stuff. But I do want to bring up the patents once again, because looking at the patents themselves, like, this was done on August 30th, and some of this information that is in this patent is actually different than the other patent that I talked about in that video. Like, this image here was not in that original patent, and this image here was not in that original patent, so there was some overlap with that. I will take full responsibility for that, but I also make a hell of a lot of videos, so sometimes I forget if I've talked about something beforehand. However, what does that have to do with today's video? Well, there was this one segment here, and when you look at this segment here, you can see there seemed to be a lot of focus on the Nintendo Switch system itself, which, I mean, looking at this is clearly a Nintendo Switch system. And I mean, you take out the Joy-Cons, attachable and detachable, because they're nice and versatile. Other stuff here, I said in my video that I wasn't going to go, too far down the rabbit hole with it, and other people were theorizing about stuff with it, and I wasn't going to go too far down the rabbit hole when talking about this, but now I'm sort of forced to, because we've been seeing a lot of very interesting things happening with the Nintendo Switch on the OLED side of things. The OLED model specifically has all of a sudden been getting a lot of attention. Now obviously that's the premium Nintendo Switch system, that's the one that costs the most money, and yes, it does have a freaking great screen on it. It is by far way better than the original Nintendo Switch's screen. It really brings to life a lot of games, but we're starting to see something that is definitely raising my eyebrow a little bit. And I can't do a rock eyebrow or anything like that. If I could, I would, because that would make sense in that portion of it. But now all of a sudden, we're getting variants of this system. And when you look at Splatoon 3 is of course coming out this week. There was a Splatoon 3 OLED system variant for that system, and it was a good looking system to some people. I thought it kind of looked like it had splooge marks on it, but a lot of people were excited for this. And the system has already come out, the game is coming out. Okay, whatever, where am I going with this? Well, today Nintendo made a very interesting announcement. Oh, look at this. There's another Switch OLED model coming. 2 months away from the launch of the Splatoon system. 2 months away from today's date, pretty much. We're getting another variant of the Nintendo Switch OLED. Now, this is for Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. This is the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Edition system. And you can see here, you got some funky Joy-Cons, you got some red, you got some purple. Let's go back here. You got some red, you got some purple, you've got, looks like graffiti all over it almost, with various Pokemon types that are going to be in Scarlet and Violet. You have the emblems, the crests there, and then you sort of just have the system itself. There's some images of the dock as well that are in this video. It's another Nintendo Switch OLED model, and upon first inspection, it's kind of like, oh, okay, that's cool. It's another Switch OLED. What's the big deal? They've done some Switch variants with Pokemon with the Switch Lite before, this, that, and the other. I can't help but feel that there's something else going on with this. Nintendo hasn't done many variants of the Nintendo Switch. They haven't done many variants, so let's just keep it real here. There's been some variants of the Switch Lite that, you know, were for Pokemon and stuff like that, but as far as the actual system itself goes, the main bread and butter system, they really haven't done that many variants. They've done little incremental upgrades. They did the Mario variant, of course, which is all red, which I have my Mario dock here, which I use, even though I use it on a Switch OLED because I'm a weirdo. I like to mix and match. What's the problem with that? Not everything has to be black and white in this world. But I can't help but think that something is happening with the Switch OLED, because we've gone from really like nothing special with this system to 2 variants in literally 2 months with it. And now let's go back to what we just talked about with the Breath of the Wild stuff. Because in these patent images that were done on August 30th, there sure as hell is a lot of information on a Nintendo Switch system. So really, you could go 2 ways with this. You could go 2 ways with what this is going to be and what this really entails. Some people think, oh, okay, this just means that there's going to be a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 sort of Nintendo Switch OLED model, or some sort of Nintendo Switch model. Obviously, it has to be either the base Switch or the OLED model because it has the detachable Joy-Cons. You can't do that with a Switch Lite. And that's definitely something to think about. But we've been kind of hearing rumors and murmurs about the fact that Breath of the Wild might be like really, really strong and really pushing boundaries. And that's the reason why the game has been delayed so much. There's volumetric clouds and all this stuff. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because I'm already down a rabbit hole right now. There's also been rumors that the Breath of the Wild 2 could be launching alongside of a newer Nintendo Switch model, something that is a bit different, something that is potentially a bit stronger. What better way to clear out some of your OLED stock, if you have a lot of OLED stock, than all of a sudden by doing 2 variants pretty much back to back? You know, Splatoon fans are diehards. They're going to want to buy stuff that's Splatoon limited edition and stuff like that. Pokemon fans, that's a whole nother level of fandom. Okay, that's a whole nother level of fandom. They're going to buy that Nintendo Switch OLED model because they want it for their collection. I can't help but think that there's some sort of correlation between all of this stuff. I can't help but think that maybe, just maybe, Nintendo is trying to clear out some of this OLED stock in order to, I don't know, maybe replace it with something. You know, I guess the mindset that a lot of us had was that, you know, if Nintendo was going to do a refresh of the Switch and continue on the Switch instead of doing a full-on successor right now, they would do something like, you know, maybe abolish the middle Nintendo Switch model, the old one that we've already had, the one that's $300, and then the OLED model would then move down in price or be a, you know, a little bit cheaper, and that would be sort of the middle model. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe they want to phase out the OLED model in light of this, or in lieu of this new system, this new system that I can't help but think is coming. I'm not going to sit here and say that, you know, I know anything or anything like that, because I don't. I've heard the same rumors that you have. I've heard the same sort of stuff going along with it. I just find it, at the very bare minimum, I personally find it very strange that a system that Nintendo really hasn't done much with as far as variants is concerned, all of a sudden is getting got a variant recently with Splatoon 3 and is getting another variant with Pokemon. And if you don't find that strange and you just think, oh, maybe it's just a coincidence, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, because I think there's something more to it. And that's what we'll leave it at. We'll leave it at, I think there is something more. What that more is, I can't say, because I don't think anyone really truly knows, but I do feel like something is happening. Something's going on, man. I don't know. That's weird. That's weird to me. That is weird to me. But let me know what you think of this in the comment. Of course, then you have to go down the whole rabbit hole of, well, Nintendo did variants on, you know, their handhelds for years, and they finally treating this as a handheld, but it's like, well, they kind of treated the Switch Lite as the handheld only model, and that's why they did variants on it. We're not going down it. We're not going down it because I could spend all day talking about this. My mother's coming into town. I got to go see her in a little bit. So we're not going to spend all day with this. Let me know what you think of this in the comments section down below. Am I off my rocker? Am I out of my mind here? Or do you think that there is something going on? Because, you know, coincidences do happen in business, but more often than not, where there's smoke, there's fire. That good old saying. And no, it's not going to be at the Nintendo Direct present. They don't announce hardware at Directs. But if they do something in the first half of 2023, I'm not going to be super surprised. I mean, maybe I will be a little bit. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Sorry about the Zelda video yesterday. If some of that information was a bit dated. And like I said, yes, I did cover some of that stuff back in December of 2021, but there was some newer stuff in there. Regardless, I mean, it's Zelda stuff. It's fun to talk about anyways. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.